So I've been going back and forth about getting back on and doing the podcast thing for a while. So I'm doing something a little different, doing some video in it. So I'm Coach G from Draft HBCU Players, and I'm going to be doing my weekly trench talk. Trench talk will be me revealing my defensive lineman of the week. That'll be my interior guy and my edge guy. It'll also be my defensive line of the week. And depending on how good they are, I might even throw a little offensive line in there. Not my favorite group of people. However, they are essential and they're our worst enemy. So, I will show a little love to my worst enemy every now and again if they just display such a dominant effort. Like I saw this past weekend from one of these games that I'm about to talk about. But to start it off, thank you to my boy Malik, my boy Tim, boy Nooks, Addy, everybody with the Draft HBCU team. We went out to the MEAC SWAC challenge and it was amazing. Like it was dope. Super dope. Got this. Super clean. Might frame it. Like we work really hard to get to a point where we're going to a bunch of games and be able to scout these players and be able to get them, get their name out there. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm happy to do it. Got a little bit of everything. I left my credential. I have my credential hanging on my wall. That's just how much that meant to me. They usually say act like you've been there before. Listen, I never covered the MEAC SWAC challenge, so I'm definitely gonna enjoy it. And here, the little black book. You see that little? You see this right here? My little what's he call this? My overlay. My little overlay here. And my little black book. I was walking around pre-game, jotting down some people, jotting down some names before the game. I came across a couple guys. I was like, okay, I'm gonna check them out for the game. I'm gonna check them out. So I remember I dropped my top 10 list, and there were some guys that felt they should have been on. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll throw a couple names on there, and we'll see how you ball out. Now, we can talk about that a little later. But for right now, we'll talk about how, some guys graded out. Not even really graded out, just how I saw from without me breaking down the film fully, like just to see, like, hey, did this guy stand out? Is this guy, the good? Is this guy someone that needs to be on the Shrine list, Senior Bowl list, Pigskin Showdown, HBCU Legacy Bowl, CGS Bowl, so many different bowls. But before we get into all that, let's start it off with my defensive lineman of the week. My defensive lineman of the week are two guys that really stood out. So I was on my way to the MEAC SWAC challenge, so I decided to watch the Florida Memorial versus Edward Waters game on HBCU League Pass Plus, which was phenomenal, by the way. I got to give them a shout out. The production was phenomenal. We need you to continue to support HBCU League Pass Plus. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. We need people to support that. That is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. It was produced so well. And, it was an NIA school versus D2 school, and I felt like I was in it. I didn't feel like I was struggling to watch. I didn't feel like the angles were killing me. It looked phenomenal. So shout out to the guys behind HBCU League Pass Plus. It was phenomenal. And I was watching this defensive end, or this edge rusher, right? This edge rusher, and he was just dominating the right tackle from Edward. I'm like, who? Because I did thorough research on every black college, and I did thorough research on every edge rusher, every defensive lineman in black college football. I was like, okay. I knew I had it locked, but for some reason I was like, who is this guy number 11 from Florida Memorial? He is fast. He's not the biggest kid. I think they listed about 6'1", about 200 plus. Not the biggest kid, but he's young. I think he's a sophomore or freshman. This guy, Antoine Davis from Florida Memorial University, is the goods. I mean, for a young guy, he just has a natural speed and bend and tenacity that I like to see out of my edge rushes. The moves will come. The moves will come for him. He has like a very, small, what do I call it? How do I say? Sample size of moves that he has right now. But all in all, this is a great start to your sophomore year or freshman year, whatever it is. He had 8 tackles, 4 sacks, and one pass deflection. You got to throw that in there, little pass deflection. But yo, it was dope to see because most people were leaning towards Edward Waters winning that game, and in the first half, the defense of Florida Memorial on top of Florida Memorial's offense, so they jumped out early. They jumped out to like almost 2-3 score lead, 2-3 possession lead. It was phenomenal to watch. I just kept seeing this kid pop up on the screen, number 11. Sack here, tackle for loss here, tackle here, chasing the ball on the other side of the field. He was destroying the right tackle from Edward Waters University. You could say he's a little small, so it's pretty much like going against the DB. Well, you got to block who's in front of you. That's what I believe in. And if he puts on some poundage, put on some weight, keep hitting the weight room. Hey, listen, Florida Memorial might have been one. He got the height, 6'1", 6'2". He has the height. The size, it may come into question, quote unquote, but that guy there, baller. So he is my edge rusher of the week, like for my defensive line. He is like 8 tackles, 4 sacks, spoke for himself. He controlled the game. He helped he helped Florida Memorial get that win. Even though Edward Waters started to have a comeback, it was him. People they were struggling to block this young man. Struggling. And you know who else is, this is a perfect segue. You know who else is struggling to block? Sorry, how do I put this? You know who else was, oh God, I'm drawing a crazy blank right now. Listen, you know who else was hard to block? Let's just say that. You know who else was hard to block? Man, let me tell you. Jevin Jackson. Jevin Jackson, I saw him in person. Jevin Jackson, probably about 6 foot, about 275, 270. Interior guy. But he is nasty. He is violent. His hands are going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. His feet are moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. He looks really strong at the point of attack. And he's just relentless. Like, Alabama State couldn't do anything with this kid. Anything. I mean, he missed a sack here and there, but, a lot of people miss sacks on, Davis from Alabama State. But that's a whole other. We're never going to get into all that. Yeah, let's talk about this kid right here. Jevin Jackson, the game started. Like, I just knew. Like, I was watching him in the warm-up, and I was just writing it down. I'm like, yo, this kid, look, he about to have a game. Because, everybody's looking at Darian Brokenberg. I've been talking about Darian Brokenberg since last year, and I was just like, okay, I know what I'm going to get out of Darian. But I saw Jevin on film last year. I was like, okay, a little here and there. But I'm like, okay, this year I feel like he's gonna come. He's gonna come with some heat. He didn't make my top 10 on my interior list, but he was right there. He's at the cusp. Like, he was definitely not too far away. And listen, that young man, he showed out versus Alabama State. He showed out. The 6 tackles, 1.5 for loss, 1 fumble recovery, and he had a block punt. He had a block punt. I want to see if I can find it. I clipped it off. Now I should be able to share it. This is my first time working with this software. I'm gonna see if I can show y'all this. Let's see if I can show. Can I share my screen? Oh, let's see. I will share a video file. Can I do it? Oh, let's see. Give me 1 second. Oh, look at this. Look at it. He was geeked up. That's him the whole game. Jevin Jackson was geeked up. He was geeked up. Like, and Brokenberg looked like a pretty decent punt returner there. I mean, he had to work a little bit, but he stopped. I know he got a little speed. Like, you need to get to it, Darian. But look at this. He gets around. Alabama State in a blocker. He tips it. Punter's looking for him. Look at that. Woo. You see the little dip? That's what he's calling it. Listen, can't block the defense. Tight end, receiver, can't block the defensive lineman. That little dip right there. Beautiful. Let's watch it again. I just want to put it on while I talk about him. Like, this young man was just a firecracker. He made it fun to watch the game. Like, you look at him and Darian and you look at Jamal Stewart and Marcus Brown. You watch those guys, they were just feeding off each other, having fun. It looked wonderful. As a defensive line coach, like, that uniformity, that unity, that love you see between your guys, was phenomenal. Howard just left their defensive line on the field for the punt return, which is cool. That's fine. They're athletic. They can block. You see, you see, you see Jamel Stewart over there blocking. Darren's like, oh man, I got me one. I got me one. So I just want to shout out Jevin Jackson. And Jevin Jackson, let you know, I'm pretty sure by the end of week 1, you will be in that top 10 list. Interior guys, for sure. You do what you did against Alabama State. They could not block this young man. They couldn't block him. They could barely. They were, when it came to running the ball, it was just a really tough day. And even on the pass rush, on the passing plays, Jevin was getting back there. Double teams. One guy was struggling to block him. It was a lot. Howard, well, we'll get more into Howard's defensive line in a second. We'll get more into that in a second. As a matter of fact, let's do it right now. So, let me get rid of this video right here. So, let's go with my defensive line of the week. My defensive line of the week, no other than Howard University. Their defensive line, they showed out. They showed out. It was a phenomenal show. Like, I enjoyed watching them just go to town on Alabama State offensive line. Like, the 30% rush success, the run stuff rate, 30%. That's just, I'm not gonna say it's unheard of. It's not unheard of. Well, it's strong. So the run stuff percentage, I should say. Oh, matter of fact, no. Where is it? Yeah, the run stuff percentage. Our rushes out of stop for no gain or a loss. That was 30%. 30%. 10 of Alabama State's rushes were stuffed for no gain or for a loss. The rushing success rate. So it's a percentage of successful rushes based on yards needed, adjusted for down. Above 50 is above average, and below 40 is below average. Howard held Alabama State to 45, which is pretty much like in the middle, right in the middle. Their rushing percent rate was 45. I think Alabama State held Howard to 52%. So Howard's defensive line held up. Like, everybody that watched the game, it was their rotation, and they were stunting. They were good with their stunts. They didn't go with their stunts. There was a couple mishaps sometimes. I saw like Darian barking on somebody on the field because they were trying to run a twist and someone in twist, and it was just. But the way they're so versatile, like they had Darian at the nose and their their speed packages. They had him at the 3 technique. They moved Marcus Brown. They moved everybody around. Twist, stunt, loved it. The Nat, nose and tackle, the Tan stunt, tackle and nose, the Ned, nose and the DN. Like, it was just wonderful to see, and it was very confusing for Alabama State, offensive line. Now, listen, let's call it what it is. Alabama State won. But this is one of the few times in football where the team that's dominating up front doesn't win the game. That's very rare. That doesn't happen too often, but it happens. You call spade a spade. Alabama State's offense. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Alabama State's offensive skill positions were just a little better than Howard's defensive skill position. And Alabama State's defensive skills were just a little bit better than Howard's offensive skills. And guess what? That ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back. And also not wrapping up Davis, because he was just running around, and it was like, wow, is anybody going to wrap this guy up? But listen, like you see at the bottom, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, a block punt, the stuff rate. The starters were Jevin Jackson, Darian Brokenberg, Jamel Stewart, and Marcus Brown. Those guys, they're stout. They're not big guys. Now, Darian's kind of big. Marcus has some size on them as well. And they got a nice little rotation there, too. But they're not the biggest guys. But they have very low center of gravity. They're strong and they're quick. So all the movement that the defensive coordinator or defensive line coach had them doing was working. They got in the backfield a lot. They got in the backfield a whole lot. But in the day, you got to make the play. You got to make the tackle. You got to make the tackle. You got to make the tackle. You got to break down. You got to rush to the upfield shoulder of the quarterback. Just in case he spins out like Davis did a lot. Get the boxing in. But when Marcus Brown got his hands on Davis that one time, just met him straight up right in his chest, made him fumble. Wonderful. Perfect. That's what you want to see for your end. He beat the guy off the line of scrimmage. Quick hands, boom, get to the quarterback, wrap him up, knock the ball out. Oh, and guess who got the fumble recovery? My put that out here. My defensive lineman of the week. Oh, my interior defensive lineman of the week. Got to put that out there. But yes, Howard Hughes, defensive line. That was my favorite defensive line for week 0 out of HBCU football. Hands down. And honestly, like I said before, this is the first time that, you know, the team that didn't dominate in the trenches loses again. Not first time. It's one of them rare times where the team that doesn't dominate in the trenches loses the game. It just doesn't happen like that. It's just not. It's not normal. I ain't gonna say it's not normal. It's just not typical. It doesn't happen very often. I'll say that. But all in all, I can't make excuses. I'm not gonna make excuses. Alabama State, when it came down to it, they got the big plays. Most of those big plays were due to, some run fits and some blown coverage, and they were pretty much just picking on number 13 from Howard. But this is about the defensive line. This is about the trenches. So we're gonna go into the trenches. And before I get up out of here, I have to be very clear. This is about defensive linemen mostly, but I gotta give a shout out. I have to give a shout out to Coach Torrey and Howard's offensive line, because people were talking about how Howard's offensive line was going to be the weak point of their team based on last year, how they just weren't stout up front. I told people, Coach Torrey is the best offensive line coach in the FCS. Justin Red can confirm. Powell from Norfolk State can confirm. Anybody that was at Norfolk State that played under Torrey can confirm. He is the best. He gets his guys going. I remember I said we were at Maryland camp, because I'm a defensive line coach in Brooklyn, and we took some of our kids. One of my kids committed to Maryland, actually, one of my defensive linemen. And I was talking to Coach Torrey, and he was like, this man some guys are just born to be an offensive lineman. Some guys are really born to be an offensive line coach. Like, this guy is phenomenal. He brings the best out of all his offensive linemen. He brings the best. Now, the right guard had a really bad day, and the right tackle gave us those 2 sacks. But overall, that offensive line was moving Alabama State. And Alabama State defensive line is huge. Their interior guys are huge. It was a Gaddy, and Ogletree. They're huge. They passed the eye test. But they weren't getting off them blocks. Not like I thought they would. Howard's offensive line was moving, sideline to sideline. They were smashing straight ahead. They were pulling the big guys out, having a one-on-one. Man, it was just, a matter of fact, I got to mention this guy. This guy is on the Shrine Bowl list for a reason. I want to make sure I say his name correctly. Anim, I'm going to say Anim Dankwah. Anim Dankwah, 6'8", 330. Well, some say 365. I don't know which one it is. That guy is all 6'8", 330, whatever plus. He is huge. But he can move. He gets in your way. He knows how to cut. He was cutting the defensive end playing against him. He didn't really make much of an impact. He didn't. Dankwah took him out of the game. When Howard scored or had big games rushing, for the most part, it was to the left, because they had in the left guard with Darius Fox, I believe. Those two were moving people. That 3-tech had a long day. That end had a long day. That linebacker that was trying to come down to the gap, trying to shoot it, had a long day. It was one play where he pulled, where where Dankwah pulled, and who was it? Actually, I believe it was actually yeah, it was Keenan Isaac actually, who was a phenomenal player, and he's all 6'3". He might be taller than that. Great player, but he went 1-on-1 with a 6'8", 330-pound guy, and literally Dankwah just pushed him with one big old hand, and just knocked him almost to the out the stadium. He literally pushed him and was knocking out the stadium. So I'm just like, man, like that was just phenomenal. And I just want to let people know, Howard did everything in their power. Howard's offensive line had a couple fall off. Howard's defense did everything they could to keep Howard in that game. I'm not going to beat the drum because this young man probably is already hearing it from everybody else. But we know why Howard didn't win that game. We know why. But if they could get that corrected, they're in play. They're in play to win the MEAC, without a doubt. No doubt in my mind. They can win the MEAC. They can at least compete because the defense is going to hold up. This defense is good. This defense is good. And then they have the kid Gallup, the safety, who looks like Jabril Peppers back there. Tackles for loss, sacks, pass breakup, closing, like in phase, closing looks above and say, like that guy looks phenomenal as well. So they got DBs. The linebackers, people didn't talk about the linebackers a lot, maybe because they're small, but you know, White and Holland, I think it's Hollon. I like them. And then they have another linebacker. Well, he's more like a kind of a tweener, like a rover. Ray Williams, another guy, number 7, he's good as well. So Howard has pieces. Their kicking game, their punter is pretty good. I like their punter. Punter's pretty good as well. Wasn't it Philip Richards? Yeah. And their kicker, Dylan, you'll be fine. You're a freshman. Let it go. I think he missed like a field goal. And listen, it happens, bro. It happens. You'll be fine. Because guess what? That defense is going to keep them in games. Howard's defense is going to keep them in games. Howard's defense is going to keep them in games. For sure. Without a doubt. But, you know, it's what so much a defense can do. Eventually, offense, you got to help them out a little bit. Like Howard's defense put them in position to score. Really good field position twice. After the interception thrown by Davis and the block punt by Jackson. So it's all possible. All possible. So how I look at it, it was a pretty decent week in the trenches. Next week is going to be even more phenomenal. So this next Monday, I'm going to do another trench talk. It's going to be a little longer because it's going to be a bunch of games. It's going to be some games. Like matter of fact, probably on Friday, I'm going to drop the teams that I'm looking most forward to watching. Like the trench battles is about to ensue. Like the defensive line play this weekend is going to be phenomenal. Definitely in like 3 games I can think off the top of my head. So this is my first time doing this in a while, but yeah, it feels good. Can't lie, it feels good to do this. And I know I've been saying how I'm gonna get back into getting on camera or doing like a podcast or something like that. I'm gonna get back into it. So I started, and here we are. So I'm just playing around with it. So yeah, I was powered by StreamYard. Throw that out there. Powered by StreamYard. Pretty cool app. Pretty cool, and I like it a lot. But yeah, this is dope. I might get it. Oh, let me take a. See, I got Coach Torrey just sitting there on my. Because Coach Torrey's really good. Like, crazy. He's so good. And so yeah, I'm probably going to I'm probably going to be back on Friday to do a preview about all the top defensive line groups that I want to see. And I may even do a little offensive line versus defensive line. Who knows? I'm not really a fan of offensive linemen, but I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. Because, like I said, while I was off the line, very impressed. Very impressed. So, it's all love. Make sure y'all follow me. My Twitter is Coach_Huggins Jr. Same thing on my Instagram. And make sure you follow Draft HBCU. Follow Draft HBCU. Draft HBCU players, we are a scouting service that is literally here to make sure that our guys are highlighted. When I say our guys, are like guys at historically black college universities that are highlighted. Make sure they're getting their just. Make sure they're getting the respect that is due to them. But you got to ball out. We're not just gonna hand you over a lovely scouting report with all A's on it. No, ball out, ball out, ball out. And I'm watching. I watch film every day. Every day, so trust me. You're not unseen. You're not unseen. I might not have gotten to you yet. Or you could just do what Jeffrey Jackson did. You were on my radar, but then you have a game like this, and now look, boom. Or Antoine Davis, 8 tackles, 4 sacks. Oh, let me make sure I do this right. Ah, look at that. 8 tackles, 4 sacks. You can be like that. So, thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for listening. And I'm going to get going. I have a lovely salmon sitting right here. I had a long day of work, and I went to practice. But it's all good. It's all good. Make sure y'all follow. And I will see y'all on Friday.